Simplified Chaos, episode 104.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
Hey, wonderful friends. Welcome to Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian, one of your hosts, and I'm with my husband and co-host, Nicholas.
What's going on, folks? Hope you all are having an awesome start to your new year. We've got another great episode here for you today. Jilly, what are we diving into?
Today's episode is a new area for us. We are into manifest scripting.
Yeah. It's really forced us to really think about a lot of things in our lives and where we want to be. It's been a tough exercise, but we're excited to share a little bit more about that in a few minutes.
True.
But before we dive into that, as always, we love to show a little gratitude to start off our podcast. So, Jilly, what are you grateful for this week?
I am grateful for you.
For me, what did I do?
You are my anchor. You are my therapist. You are my... I don't want to say everything because then it sounds like I'm really dependent on you. But I feel like a pretty independent person. But you just... Man, you're my yang to my yin. I mean, we've had an amazing experience in Charlottesville, Virginia. You drove us there. You navigated us all the places we needed to go. You listen to me when I have concerns, when I have fears, when I have emotions. You just hear me and you soothe me and you let me be me completely and you embrace me and you accept me for who I am. And I'm just so grateful to have you in my life.
Well, I'm always happy to be here for you. And that trip was meant to, have us talk about a lot of things we might talk about today. And we talked about it a lot in our last episode, and it's funny, we recorded our last episode before we actually dove into what it is that we discussed over that trip. We talked about what we wanted to talk about, but there was a lot of great conversation, and it makes me really excited about our future and where we're going and the things that we have planned. So it was an awesome trip. It was great to kind of map out our year and maybe even more to the future. So we've got some exciting things to share with you throughout the year. Stay tuned.
Sure did.
There's the cliffhanger right there. But yeah, no, it was an awesome weekend. And, I forget that we were there for more than 3 days. And I echo the same sentiment. Like, you've opened my mind up to a lot of different things and made me a much better person because of that. So I love that you push me and that we're in this together and we're always in this together, and that we can open up to each other and have those conversations and kind of let down our guard. So yeah, I echo the same thing.
I appreciate your echo.
But I'm also grateful for that. But this week I wrote down that I'm grateful for my playoff fantasy football draft.
You would.
I know, but
sports fanatic.
It's different this year than most years. Usually with our playoff fantasy football, which is a very interesting concept to begin with. We do it at a restaurant in Baltimore. We've done it for the last 5 years. We go to the same place. Some of us get there early and have dinner and just kind of catch up, and then with playoff fantasy football, there's less people involved, and so it's a quick draft. It's like, as opposed to 3 hours, it's like an hour and 10 minutes, an hour and 15 minutes. It's really quick, but obviously this year with the pandemic, we couldn't do what we normally do and be there in person, but that's why I think it made it more special this year, because there are some people that I haven't seen in a while that was on that Zoom call that we did. So it was just great seeing them and being able to catch up with them and kind of BS a little bit. Even my buddy from Copenhagen, it was 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning for him when we did the draft, and he was on. So it was good.
He showed up?
Yeah.
Damn, he's committed.
He maybe got 3 hours of sleep last night.
Danny, you're my hero.
Yeah. but it was worth it, and I think it was worth it for him just to see everybody. So yeah, I mean, that was great, just that we're still able to do this, get a little bit of normalcy there. But I miss my friends, and again, it's good to just see them and have them all on a screen together and just kind of BSing and seeing what everybody's hair looks like, if people are growing them out, if they're not, if people are maintaining. It was fun. So
let's talk about 2021 hair.
Yeah.
Who's still growing and who's cutting?
Some people haven't cut it since the beginning of the pandemic.
I dig it.
Yeah.
That makes me like, should I grow out my hair and just see what happens? I don't know.
You do you, babe.
It's so hard to grow once you go short. It's just so easy. We'll table that for another discussion.
That's right. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about manifestation scripting.
Yes. Okay.
People are probably like, what the hell is manifestation scripting?
That's exactly what I said when I first heard this. I'm like, I've heard of manifestation.
That was my reaction when you said we're going to start doing manifestation scripting. I was like, what the fuck is that?
I mean, I've heard of visualization. I've heard of vision boards, but this was the first time I heard this. And I actually heard it on the Melissa Ambrosini podcast. So she had a guest on. Her name is Ange Simpson, I believe. And she talked about, she called it day scripting. And I was super fascinated. And she seems really happy with her life. She's aligning, she's living a life that aligns to her values. She helps other women in a health field. And I was so curious to like what she was talking about. And she's been doing this for a couple of years. And she, attributes to like a lot of great things to this exercise. So what manifestation scripting is basically there's tons of definitions out there. The definition that she gave was basically describing the perfect life for her, like what she is striving for. Not that she's not already grounded and grateful for what she has, but she does desire like to have more freedom in a lot of areas of her life. So she talks about how she scripts her perfect day, her dream day, if that's the life that she wants to lead, like, majority of her time, like that's the day that she wants. So I thought it'd be a really fun exercise to do that as well. And just to give a little background, I did do a little bit of research just to kind of paint a picture of exactly what we're doing. So I found this blog post that it's 10 questions about scripting and the law of attraction. So those of you that have seen that documentary of the law of attraction, it's very similar to that. Like you put out the energy you want. So just
what
to give you...
What was that documentary called? It wasn't the law of attraction. It was
rule
called...
or...
yeah,
something like that.
It keeps... Dawn.
You have that book, though.
I do have it. Oh, man, I got to go down and check it out.
Yeah.
So it'll pop up to me in the middle. I'll just blurt it out as soon as I remember it.
Yeah. So, so the whole act of like scripting out your life, like your perfect day, scripting is not about how many times you do it, but about the feeling it generates. So in the blog post, he explains that scripting is just the tool. It is not where the magic happens. The magic happens within you. Scripting is a method to help you change. So what this means is that you script or you write the perfect day or your dream day until you believe that you've already received what you wish to manifest. And for some people, that means that they have to script twice a day. For someone else, it may be once a week. For someone else, it might be a few times a week. But you script or write until you believe it's already yours. Like you already are in a relationship, you already have, or whatever you want, fill in the blank. So it means that when you get crazy bored writing the same things over and over again, your subconscious mind thinks, oh, I know this already. And then it gets locked in until you believe it's yours. And I really like that idea of that. It's just really about training your brain and your mind to think like it's possible. You're living it. You have access to it. It's possible. And I think that's huge because our mind is everything when it comes to like our future and the actions that we take. It's like most of the time it's limiting beliefs or fears that we have that stop us from like taking the action or going the next step. So I thought this exercise would be really fun. Now, the way I heard it is that instead of her writing it down every day, she records herself scripting out her perfect day and she listens to it every day on her phone, which I really like the whole idea of like that's why I like podcasts. I feel like it's very intimate. I can hear it in my ear.
It's almost like a mantra, but a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Mantra is that one word or sentence that you repeat to yourself, but this is a longer version of that. And it's funny, like when you repeat a mantra, it starts becoming true in your life. But when you start really scripting your day, I can see how that, it gets ingrained in you, and then you just start acting in certain ways to get you to that point. Like, it's just amazing just how hearing something on repeat can, set you up for, what you want to get to. And you can do it consciously or subconsciously get to that point. You might start changing habits in your day just based on hearing that same thing over and over again. So yeah, I like the idea of the recording, but for some people, writing it down may be the best way to go.
So I do like the art of writing in the beginning, but I know like my perfect day is going to change as I get older, or, it could change tomorrow. So I like the idea of maybe writing it down, the difference that you may see or you may seek, and then recording it. But absolutely, I like the idea of hearing, especially if you're like, man, writing it seems kind of tedious. Like, what if I don't have enough time? It's nice to be like, well, let me just listen to the mantra that I already recorded. That way it's, less of a time consuming act. And it can only take, like they say, it takes like 3 to 5 minutes that you should be either writing or you should be listening to your script of your like perfect day, quote unquote.
And there's no reason why you can't record it. Everybody's got some kind of recording app on their phone or their computer. So it should be very easy and accessible to you every day, especially if it's on your phone.
Absolutely. And you are supposed to be as specific as possible. It's like writing a story in the present tense. And I'm going to put this blog post in the show notes so that way I give credit to all of these amazing resources that are kind of like trickling in throughout. So like, for example, they said, instead of just writing down, I had dinner with a girl last night, you should write down, I was having dinner at 8 p.m. in an Asian restaurant. Her blonde hair, bright blue eyes, and gorgeous dress grabbed my attention immediately. Like, that's just one description. But basically just really just dive deep into making yourself feel like you're there. Like, paint that picture so well, like you're reading this amazing epic novel that you like feel like it's happening to you right there. So yeah, I'm excited to share our script and just to send out into the universe what we want, where we see ourselves, and to see what happens after we do this consistently and to listen to it.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want me to start, or do you want to start your reflection or scripting or scripted?
Well, yeah, I think I'll start because this has been a very difficult task for me to accomplish for a couple reasons. One is that you brought up the idea on Sunday, and it's now Wednesday when we're if I can talk, when we're recording this episode.
Wow, I feel a lot of the excuses coming on me. Thank you for that.
Well, that was just the number one. I'm kidding.
It's okay. It's okay. You can put your blame on me.
I mean, to me, this is something that takes a lot of reflection, and I needed to do a little bit of research on it as well, just to kind of make sure that I understood what this whole process was. And the way I understood it was, it can be done a couple different ways. Number one, you could just script your ideal day, like what you want your everyday life to be. Or you can break it up into different pieces too. Like, you can describe what you want your everyday life to be, but then you can also describe a vacation you want to take. You can describe, or a trip. You can also describe just like what your weekends look like. You can break it down into segments too. Like, if you want to break it down, work week, weekends. And that's kind of the way that I took it, is like, but at the same time, you also want it to be consistent too. And there are going to be changes, as your life changes over time and your values change. So that script's going to change too.
Yeah.
But the whole idea is to, visualize what it is you want to do every day so that you can eventually make that a reality. And the reason why this is extremely challenging for me and why I haven't been able to complete my first script yet, because that's what I'm going to say. Number one, I haven't completed it yet. But it's challenging for me because I really haven't found like my passion or what it is that I really want to do with my life. Like, it's something that I've been searching for a long time. And I don't know, I don't want to say that it's depressed me a little bit, but I mean, it's just kind of making me question things and just like, okay, well, I'm 38 going on 39 and I still don't know what I want to do with, as my passion in life. And so it's just like, I'm trying to figure that out, but I know there are certain aspects of my days like that I know that I want, like, time I get up, spending time with you, spending time with Lucille, and how that looks like in 3 and 5 and 10 years, like as she gets older as a teenager and as 20, that's all going to change. Like, and I don't know how far into the future you're supposed to look on this thing. I kind of see it more as like starting short term and then maybe working a little bit longer. Again, this is going to be different for everyone, just depending on where you're at. But like, yeah, that's my biggest block right now is just like, and one of my goals for this year, at kind of going back to this past weekend, is to like really just do a lot of discovery about myself and what it is that drives me and motivates me, and figure what that is, and start acting towards that, and making it a part of my everyday life. So for me, that's what the benefit of this whole exercise has been, is just a lot of thinking over the last 3 days, and I'm going to eventually work it out, but I need to start doing it. Basically, I need to put pen to paper at this point and start making it happen, just so that I can start understanding a little bit more about what I want my day to look like in 3 years and 5 years and whatnot. And so that I can start working towards those goals. So that's where I'm at.
And I just want to give you props. So, for you guys that are listening, Nick looked very perplexed. I would say not his usual chipper self before we were about to record. And I was like, is everything okay? And he did mention that like he wasn't quite ready for this episode. And I was like, well, I kind of already put out on Instagram, like, this is the topic we were going to talk about.
If it's on the gram, we got to do it.
Yeah. And it was kind of great motivation, because I think we may have switched topics if I didn't do that. But then, I asked him like, what's going on? He said that he was just having difficult time with this exercise. And I was like, I think this is something to share, because I think you're not alone in that. Like, there are other people who might go into this and be like, I have no idea what my perfect day would be like. And I think that's completely okay. And I think that might be something that you might need more time to like sit in and think about. So I'm very proud of you for coming on and just sharing that. I know it's not easy to like say like, I'm not ready. I feel like I'm not prepared for this podcast, but I think just by sharing that you were struggling with this is great in itself, because it shows that, hey, we all may not have a vision of that. And I think it's important to sit in that and be like, why don't we? Or, what can we do to like have a better vision? Because I mean, I have a vision, but there's some parts where it's kind of like open, where I'm not really sure, but there are a lot of parts that are super clear to me, like what I truly value and what I love and what I see my life looking like. And if you don't, I think that's completely okay too. I think that's human of you. I think just sharing that was important. So thank
Julie,
you.
it took you 104 episodes for you to stump me. You finally did it.
So I just want to commend you. And I think this is something that we definitely want to do. I want to listen to this episode, because I have a pretty clear manifestation of my perfect day right now that I want to listen to over and over again. But I think this is a great exercise that we can do once a year to just hear how it's changed, and to hear and see how this practice has changed us in our life.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to hear your progress on when you have a little bit more clarity. And I think that there's never going to be 100% clarity with this. It's just what you see now, and that's going to change. So even if you're like, this is what I see, but when it comes to like my work, I have no fucking idea what my work's going to be. And I think that's completely okay. So I wouldn't let that hold you back from doing this exercise. Even if you're just like work ? Like, I'm not sure yet.
And I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
It's just that like thinking about it just made me like be like, oh shit, do I really have a handle on where my future, like, I don't know, I kind of feel a little aimless right now, and that's a little scary, but I do see the value in this exercise, and hopefully it'll help me get aligned so that I'm not feeling like and it's funny, like it took us doing this exercise for me to like really feel like, okay, have I really truly evaluated where I'm going? So,
well, seemed so clear. Like, you were the more specific one when we had to paint the picture of our lives in 10 years and 20 years and 50 years.
Yeah.
So it is surprising that you had the most trouble with this, because I feel like you were way more descriptive when it came to like describing our life in 2 episodes ago. So it was kind of like, that's interesting. So
yeah, I guess when you break it down into like, you can see yourself in the future and say, and be very general. Like, I didn't think I was too specific. I think it was still very generalized.
yeah, I see what you're saying.
But like when you talk about like from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed, like what does your day look like? And then you talk when you think about your typical day. I mean, we work 5 days a week, most of us. That's a big part of, you know, what it is that you write about. And then that's what I'm really just like, oh shit, you know.
It makes you question, like I'm working right now 40 hours a week. Is that what I want my life to be like?
Right.
Is that the perfect day? And I was telling Nick as I was scripting my day, you realize that you have a lot of limiting beliefs and a lot of like roadblocks that are stopping you from thinking like this life could happen. And I had a lot of reflection time when I was scripting. And before I share mine, I did find something on medium.com. It was talking about, you know, changing your life, writing yourself a new script.
Before you get into that, like, just, you know, and it's not to say that I don't like my job right now either, or maybe what I'm doing is my passion, but I'm saying that maybe I just haven't thought deep enough about it yet. So, I mean, maybe I am on the right track in what I'm doing, but at the same time, you know, it's given me time to think about it. So that's all I really wanted to kind of end with before getting into the medium thing.
I don't think anyone out there thought you were dissatisfied with your work.
Yeah, no, but
that's, you think about long term, or you think about your perfect day. Is it in the mix? And I think it's a bold of you to just say, like, I don't know, I gotta think about it some more. So thank you for doing that.
But that's what I wanted to wrap up with.
Okay. So I saw this quote on another blog post that says, "We celebrate the great actors of our time for their ability to assume roles and give a convincing performance. We lose sight of the fact that we too are playing roles because we did not audition for our original roles, so we may not recognize them as roles at all." And I thought this was interesting because when we are scripting, it's like we are the main character in this script. You know, we are depicting what our life is going to look like. So this is really an interesting exercise to do because you get to create the day that you want, and you have to, you know, take away the boundaries, take away your limiting beliefs, and know that it is possible. So, is it okay if I read my script now?
Go for it.
Okay. All right. So I depicted it pretty, I wanted to make sure I covered all of my senses. So I really dove into the feelings. So hopefully I won't bore you with my typical day, and maybe it could inspire you to maybe have some of those same nuggets too. I don't know. We'll see.
Go for it.
Are you okay?
I'm good.
All right. So I have as my morning as like around 6 a.m. Around 6 a.m., I wake up in our cozy sheets and see my sexy husband, and I catch a glimpse of him and of the beautiful orange and pink colors in the sky as the sun's coming up.
Am I drooling?
Nah, you don't drool. You're like the most beautiful sleeper ever.
Nah.
Yeah. I hear the birds chirping in the trees outside our home. I smell essential oils from my massaging oil rub I did on my neck the night before. I feel the soft sheets in my cotton shirt on my skin. I feel a slight chill as I step out of my cozy, warm bed to wash my face and brush my teeth. I see a tidy home with simple hygge decor and lots of open space and natural lighting. I hear light jazz music as I'm about to sit in my favorite chair to journal. I smell the lemon as I squeeze it in my water that I'm about to drink. I touch my planner or my journal and gel pen as I write 3 things I'm grateful for this morning. I feel motivated and energized for the walk I'm about to take in our neighborhood. So, and then I have mid-morning. I started writing this and then I really broke it down into like morning, mid-morning, late morning, because I realized that it was so complex and there was so much to it.
Also sounds to me like you're already living some of this too, just based on what you're saying. So you're already seeing what you're already living what your typical day wants to be, or what you want your typical day to be.
Yeah, that was a cool realization, that things that I want are things that I'm already doing now. So that was very grounding. 7 to 9 a.m. I wrote, I see beautiful Lucille and my husband. I also see nature, houses, and people as I take my morning walk or bike ride. I hear an inspiring podcast episode in my ears as I'm walking or riding. I smell the grass and the crisp air all around me. I can feel my feet grounded as each step as I walk in my flexible shoes, because I'm all about those minimalist shoes.
Oh, yeah.
I feel refreshed, invigorated, and excited for a healthy breakfast and a cup of coffee I will enjoy with my family when I get back. So then I have my late morning, which is like around 9 or 10. So you can see I'm a huge fan of like slow mornings. I love slow mornings.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah. I see kids, coworkers. This was the part where I was like, I'm not sure. So I either see kids, coworkers, or my laptop as I'm about to start my day of work. It's very open-ended. I hear kids laughing and talking. I think this deep down, I still want to work with kids. And I really enjoy the energy from kids. And I've already talked to you about that.
Oh, yeah.
Teaching is like, I love the energy of just little kitties. I smell my fresh organic coffee as I'm about to sip it. And I feel the tug and tapping of small hands of kids asking me to help them with something. So already
the 3 hours after you wake up for the coffee. It's the ideal time you're supposed to drink it.
Right? I thought about that. So yeah, that is like around the time I'm starting work is like a late morning.
Yeah.
I love having those slow mornings and then working a little bit later. And I also feel vibrant energy from the kids around me. It's just seeing the world in new eyes. All right. So my afternoon is I eat a healthy and delicious lunch outside. I hear my daughter and Nick laughing and talking about a funny topic or conversations of a kind coworker. And again, I kind of did half and half. Like I could be at home working, or I could be in a setting where I'm with kids with other coworkers. So again, you are not alone in not knowing like where you see yourself, but I did A or B option. I smell my lunch as I'm about to eat. I feel the sun beaming on me as I'm sitting outside on our patio and taking a light walk afterwards. I feel grateful for my days and the time to do all the things I love to do. And again, I don't know if I prefaced this before. I wrote for each topic, I wrote see, hear, smell, touch, and feeling. So that way I could cover all of the senses. And I can actually make a template that's blank and share it with anyone who is like, he needs a template, because I'm the person who needed more specifics to help me like get the full picture. I could share this with you too, Nick, if that would help guide you, because I had to create my own guiding system.
Yeah.
With this.
No, that sounds awesome.
Okay, so my mid-afternoon. I see my daughter playing and smiling faces. I hear kids and coworkers around me. I smell Lucille's breath as she kisses and hugs me. I feel Lucille's body as she still kisses and hugs for me throughout the day. So I kind of envision right now being in a setting where I'm teaching and working and Lucille's with me. I feel enthusiastic for work ending so I can spend time with Nick and Lucille together. And then early evening, I have around 5 or 6. I see the different ingredients I get to use when cooking dinner with my family. I hear Flamingosis music station.
Nice.
As I'm preparing food while dancing in the kitchen.
Y'all need to get down on that Flamingosis.
So good. So good.
Check it out.
I smell garlic, onion, and some type of meat cooking. I feel the knife in my hand as I'm chopping veggies. And I feel relaxed and enthusiastic to eat a delicious, healthy dinner in our home. And then my late evening is from 6 to 7 p.m. Again, you can see I'm very specific.
These also sound very familiar.
Yeah.
These are familiar senses that I'm hearing.
Which, to me, it just makes me realize that there's a lot of things that I'm doing that I love and that bring me joy, which is, it's a great realization.
You think about it, I mean, this has been a 2-year journey that we've been on here since we started the podcast, and is really when we started doing it. I mean, we were kind of dabbling in it before, but it's like the podcast made everything real, and we're living our truth, so to say. And,
Yeah.
and that's why I feel like now that I see what you've done here, that we're both living a lot of our truth right now. I just have a little missing part.
You're good, baby.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
that late evening, Jilly.
Sorry if I'm boring you guys. You're still
No.
tuned. Check it out.
No,
Okay.
This is a good way for people to understand how this exercise works.
I see Lucille and Nick either walking, playing, biking, or hiking, or taking a bubble bath. I wasn't sure if we were going to be out in the summer or if it was winter and we might be doing bubble baths because it's really dark.
Swimming laps in the pool
Or swimming laps in the pool, yeah.
that we don't have.
Or
Right.
I see a yoga mat or a movement session to help me reconnect with my body. I hear Nick, Lucille, and our neighbors outside. I smell flowers or a fire outside.
Yeah, fire.
I touch my husband's hand as I grab it while we're outside and the cool night air around me. And I feel calm and excited to wind down for the evening. So pre-bed, I have around 7 or 8. I see Lucille fall asleep in her bed after being read lots of stories. I hear Nick reading to her as she prepares to sleep. I smell Nick's deodorant as he gets close to me to steal a kiss because I love your
Yeah.
Old
Old Spice.
Old Spice.
Yeah. Swagger.
It does have some swagger.
Man.
It should
Well,
be
that's
called.
what it's called.
They should
It's
be
called
called
swagger.
getting laid.
Well, that's the whole idea. You got
I
the
know.
swagger. Boom.
Yeah. I feel Lucille as I'm rubbing her to sleep and cuddling close. And I feel so grateful to have this family and safe to be in a place we love together. All right. My bed, 8 to 9. This is the last one.
All right. I better
People
be
were like, oh, thank God, the end of her day's coming. I see my planner or my journal and novel that I'm about to write in and read. I hear stillness since Lucille is asleep. I smell essential oils or my facial cleanser. I feel the kisses from my husband, and I feel the soft sheets on my skin as I'm about to write and read.
or have sex.
Or have sex. I was going to say
That
something.
was not on hers.
I was going to say something
improvised
about
there.
really sexual, but I'm not going to say pre-cum. Oh, wait,
Oh,
I
God
just did
damn
say
it.
pre-cum.
Yeah, you did.
This is this type of podcast. We're not going to hold
Yep.
it back.
It's a good thing we have that explicit
Oh, shit.
E next to our podcast on
Keeping it
every
real.
single episode.
I'm just so excited.
just
My
how we
marriage
are.
is sexy and hot.
Yeah.
Feelings. Okay, so I feel motivated to read, underline, and learn something new from the book I'm about to read. And I should have put, or about to have sex with my
Yeah.
husband. And I
Yeah,
forgot you in that part.
You forgot me. No, I'm just kidding.
I
You
did
had
write-
me in there plenty.
I did.
Yeah. And then you're sleeping.
And then I'm sleeping. So this is right now as we speak.
So nine, you're sleeping from 9 to 6.
Yeah.
It's 9 hours of sleep, babe.
Maybe 10 to 6 if we decide
Get
to
an
watch
episode
some
of The Community or something like that.
Yeah. But I appreciate you. I think this is a fun exercise to do with your significant other because it's neat to hear you like point out like, wow, a lot of these things we're already doing. So it's kind of like a nice realization that we are living the way we want to. And there are some small tweaks, of course, that, you know, we see because we do crave some, at least I crave some more time freedom in certain areas of my life and maybe some tweaks to certain professions. But it was nice writing this down because, and I like the fact that because I had to categorize it with all senses, to me, it's like I feel it more and I see it more and I can actually like visualize myself being there because I describe all of it. I don't know how you felt when I was reading it, but it puts me, I can just picture that moment. I can picture that what's happening. And even if there's like an A or B alternative, like I'm working at home or I'm in like a facility with like children, I still try to be very specific with the things that I know that I want to see or feel or hear and smell and all this fun stuff. And it was interesting trying to think like, what would I smell? And it made me get really specific, like, you know, things that like I smell all the time that I maybe not think of, like your deodorant. It's like, it is something that I really enjoy smelling. And it's like, it was kind of cool to kind of put it in there during one of the parts of my day. But again, that was me.
So when I get mine done,
Yeah.
I'm definitely writing to Morgan Freeman to see if he'll narrate it for me. Because then I will straight up listen to that shit 5 times a day.
Oh, wait, what's the comedian that does a really great impression of him?
Oh, it's oh man, it's the guy who does all this. Why can't I think of it? I can picture his face right now. He was
He was in Mad TV.
He was on Mad TV.
And he does a great Morgan
Man,
Freeman.
man, it's on the
impersonation.
tip of my tongue. Anyways, yeah,
That's all right.
he's on. My brain's just not working today.
It's okay. You're stumped today, bud.
I can't think of the name of the
You got some
documentary.
blockages we're going to call
and I
out.
can't think of the guy's name.
It's cool, babe.
It's all good. Well, I know we've dropped a couple resources. Did you have any other resources for our listeners that we're going to drop into the show notes? Frank Caliendo.
You did it. I'm so proud of you. So there was one, I don't want us to be overloaded with resources, but I found,
We're going to make you all do a lot of reading.
there was just so many great things that I found when I was diving into this topic, and I was just really excited. It's on Thrive Global. It's Thrive Global. Sorry.
That's a good site.
How to
There's a lot of
manifest.
good content on that website.
Is there?
Yeah.
Good. It gave, I think it was 14 ways on how to manifest what you want. So there was like all these slew of techniques, which I thought would be interesting to share since it is an open-ended like practice. Like there's many ways to do exercises where like to help you expand your mind and think about your future and what you want it to be. And I just wanted to share some of those that are out there, and they gave descriptions of all of them. So I'm not going to dive into the descriptions, but I just wanted to put out there all the different ways that you could do something similar to this if you didn't want to do like life scripting or day scripting.
Okay.
But I did want to say that when practicing any of these, it said, ensure that your mind and heart are fully open to change, which I think is so important.
Oh, that's not, you can't change if you're not open to it.
So true. And I can attest to this. It said, witness any subconscious beliefs that might hold you back from authentic transformation, and then soften them as you delve further into your practice. So like I said in the beginning, like as I was doing this, part of me could feel myself holding back some of the things that I wanted because I was like, is that possible? And I think the more we do this, we might let go more of those beliefs, the more we take action. So, all right. So some of the other techniques that I found on there were vision boards, which we've heard before, an intentional journal. It's called a belief assessment, which is something that we could dive into, a gratitude journal. They had one that was called bedtime reprogramming. So they did say that bedtime, like that time right before you fall asleep, is the best time to input things that like change your mindset, which I thought was interesting. And it goes into the science behind it, but it makes me appreciative that we're like reading right before we go to bed, because it does something with your brain and rewiring, which I thought was really interesting. We'll have to read into further. One of them was letter from your future self.
I've heard about this.
And it's weird. I did that in high school in my I think it was my senior year. We wrote a letter of where we were 10 years from now.
Did they put it in a time capsule?
So she was supposed to mail it to us, but I never got it. So now I'm like, shit, what did I say?
It's not like you moved. You still haven't moved.
Right? I've been in the same freaking house my whole life. But yeah, so that's one of them. Manifestation affirmations. One of them was called Outside the Box. One of them was called Prayer Practice, Positive Networks, Permission Practice, Act the Part, Inner Child Embrace, and Higher Self Visualization. Again, if any of these are sparking interest, we're going to put this website in the show notes so you can dive deeper into what they are. There's just so many good ones. It would be an hour-long podcast if I dove into all of them. But great resource if you want to find alternative ways to kind of like put your dreams into action and make it feel more real.
And the documentary on Netflix is called The Secret.
The Secret, yes. Did you look it up or did you just think of it?
I had to look it up.
Damn.
I was not going to finish this episode without mentioning The Secret. We watched it a long time ago. Like I think it was probably 2015 or 16, and it was really fascinating at the time. And then, we just kind of got away. I'd like to watch it again just to kind of see, how that aligns with what it is we're doing here. But yeah, that was a good documentary. So I definitely recommend checking that out. We'll put it in the show notes too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how about the quote of the day, Jilly?
So you're going to think this is quite coincidental, but it just happened to be that the quote of the day is from Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, old Monticello.
which was such a coincidence since we were in Charlottesville, Virginia, and
Yeah.
Monticello was right there.
Right up the mountainside there.
So it's kind of weird how things are aligning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alignment.
Alignment. All right.
Charlottesville.
His
Monticello. Thomas Jefferson. Wineries. Go for it.
bourbon. If you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done.
Truer words have never been spoken, Sir Thomas Jefferson.
Jesus.
I dig it. I like it.
I think it really makes you keep it. For me, it just motivates me to do new, be bold, leave fear at the fucking door, and just fucking do it.
That's the Take Action Challenge.
Oh, shit.
Just fucking do it.
I feel like that was one before.
It's always the take. Yeah. Whatever we said, just do it. I'm kidding.
So your Take Action Challenge is put into writing, put into words out loud your perfect day. And
Let's do this
read
exercise
that shit
together.
Read that shit, listen to it every day until you start to believe it. And it's amazing. I feel like we're kind of already doing it through the podcast. We've been manifesting a lot of things, saying what we want, but this is a little bit bolder and a little bit more specific. So we'll see what happens.
And let us know what your progress is. Like we're always curious. Hit us up on the Instagram, slide into the DMs. Do they still say that? I don't know if they still say that or not.
I think the cool kids are not.
They're probably not saying that anymore. That was 2018. I don't even know anymore. But yeah, no, we are really curious as to, if you're running into any roadblocks. Is this been eye-opening? Is this scary? Like, just let us know. We're all in this together. We're all here to support each other. So hit us up. Let us know what's going on. And, best of luck with everything on mapping out what your typical day is.
And there's no right or wrong way to do
That's
this.
right.
There's just do it. That's
just have
it.
to do it. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you liked this episode, and we hope that you did, please do us a favor and help us spread the message. You can do this by either writing a review or simply sharing this episode with a friend. And remember that sharing sparks a conversation. Conversation leads to action, and action is how we're able to live a happy and intentional as hell lifestyle. We want to thank you all for listening today, and we will see you again next week.
See you later, y'all.